Welcome back to Fourth and Fantasy. Tonight, I know, guys, we're always trying to buy low on players, but we're going to get high tonight. And when I mean high, we're buying high on players that you should be feeling comfortable about going out and paying premium or maybe just market dollar on. But you know what it is. Fourth and Fantasy back at it again. Let's get to it.
Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't follow no script. I make my own lane. Got a spreadsheet mind and a red rat brain. Dynasty beats got that tape in my veins. While they drafting by names, I'm exposing their game. No cap. We study the craft like film room rats. Gyms in the fourth while they stuck in the past. It's levels to the dynasty. Keep or flex. From rookies to pros, we demand and respect. That's real. And I ain't never need clout for my clout to show. Just a mic I take and a team I grow. This ain't just picks, it's principle G. It's fourth and fantasy where you build your legacy. We 10 toes down, yeah, we stand on.
We're 10 toes down and we stand on facts, but you already knew that. My name is Huncho, and this is my guy.
Siriaco, call me Rocco.
And we are your fantasy playbook to more championship wins in Rocco, the land of the what?
We are a fantasy football podcast for Dynasty Sickos by Dynasty Sickos. Everybody is welcome.
Everybody is welcome. Bring your asses on. Shout out to everybody that has joined the Fourth and Fantasy team, whether it's been in the Discord, on TikTok. I think we're almost at 700 on TikTok. We're about to hit 100 in the Discord. Thank you for everyone who's tapped in with us on Twitter, basically on all our social platforms. Appreciate it. It's very much love over here. While we're in the, I guess, in the midst of the off season, we haven't even gotten to OTAs. We haven't even got to training camp. But man, everybody's still working through. I know I finished up a good number of my rookie drafts. I still got a couple that are still lingering on IDP draft that's on the sixth round, I think. But nevertheless, Rocco, how has your offseason been, and particularly these rookie drafts? What have you noticed so
Oh
far?
man, I'm nuts deep in drafts.
Nuts deep.
I'm about I'm about 3/5 of the way
Okay.
through my leagues. Uh, this is a weird class. I've had drafts where I've traded out of into or out of almost every pick, and I've had ones where no draft day trades of picks happened at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's just wildly different from draft to draft. Um, I have noticed Jadarian Price is a rocket ship right now.
Yeah. Oh,
A lot of times he's jumping what I consider the top four wide receivers in this class,
seen
which
it.
would be Tate, Tyson, Lemon, and KCC. I've seen him go as
The
high as
103.
1.2.
What?
1.2, yeah.
Jadarian Price going at the 102.
You know
Ah,
Price will jump the shark at some point when you see him go 101.
are we
I'm
talking about?
here for
So I
it.
have to ask you, Rocco, is this a RB premium league, or was was it just a normal one?
Just regular.
Ooh, hey, I know we ain't talking about our good friend Armand right now. I know. Is that
Oh
you?
man.
Is that you, Armand?
Armand is chubbed up for his Jadarian Price right
I'm
now.
telling you.
He said he's promised you it's not his all the Seahawks merch. Famously went down to watch the Seahawks win the championship this year. So yeah, he's heavily invested in the Sea Chickens. I don't know if I'm on Price like that, but a lot of people are talking themselves into Price right now.
Yeah, hey, that's what you got to do. But
I had a guy trade for the 1.4, and I was certain because he was quarterback needy. I thought he was coming up for Mendoza.
mm,
He took Price.
Mendoza's
He
going.
took Price.
I told people when a lot of the times in these rookie drafts, Mendoza was going at that 105, that 104, that 106. Mendoza's been going a lot of times at the 102, the 103, and the 104. I think he's been going a lot higher than what people thought. if I'm being quite honest with you.
For me, he's in play. He's in play at 1.2. You know, if all all
I
of the
get the
players
share.
after Jeremiah Love have warts. You know, Tate looks great on film. He's got the draft capital, but like Malik Neighbors says, he was never the number one on his team. I mean, he did have Jerry Smith and other guys that are in the league right now on the same team with him, but you know that is one of the things we look for is college domination, and he was not able to because he was either the two or three on his team for many years. That's something that's not in his profile. So some people just say, "Fuck it, I'm going 1.2 Mendoza." Uh, Matt Kelly, Podfather with Player Profiler,
Father.
we run ads for FastDraft. Um, he took Mendoza in a league we share at 1.2. So after the only thing that's consistent is Jeremiah Love at 1.1. After that, it's a total free for all. One thing I have noticed that I really like in rookie drafts is I'm really liking the mid to late third and fourth rounds. They have a lot of value there. They have tight ends that landed well, tight ends that are elite
Mm-hmm.
athletes. I'm taking shots on
Oscar
Eli
Delp.
Quick, Oscar Delp. Yeah, I'm trying to get him in every league. I mean, you talk about an elite athlete. I think he ran in the 4.4s, and he wasn't even 100%. So that just kind of speaks to the type of athlete he is. The guy you told me about before he even landed on the Saints, so I know go dogs. That
Go dogs, baby.
you know a little bit about Delp, but I'm starting to buy in. I'm starting to buy in. Eli Raridon, Justin Jolie, just a bunch of guys you can get,
Michael Trigg.
if you like undrafted guys. Michael Trigg. There's just a lot of value because it just seems pretty flat from that 1.7, 1.8, 1.9, all the way through the fourth round. You're getting third round wide receivers who were the first drafted wide receiver in this draft for the Miami Dolphins, Caleb Douglas. You're getting him in the late fourth and on waivers a lot of times, and he was a third round draft picked before Chris Bell and Kevin Coleman. So that just goes to show you that why it doesn't have the high end talent. It has a lot of guys that are going to fill roles on NFL teams and a lot of interesting tight ends to say the least.
To say the least. But tonight we're talking about players that we are buying high on. Listen, guys, you cannot always. I know we always try to get the best out of a trade. You always want to try to get a player for the least amount that you can. But sometimes you just got to spend that top dollar or come out right for a particular guy that you want. Whether you consider it a young player, a rising player that's coming on the scene. Rocco, give us your first buy high player.
Oh man, if y'all been paying attention to me, for the last at least half a year, I'm where I'm going first off. Tyler Shuck. If you can
Ooh,
get him for anything less than two first right now, that is a smash. I'm hearing people on podcasts talking about, yeah, if I can get a first round, any first, I'm sending them off. You are you are making a
I
mistake,
think so.
huge mistake because he was worth a first round pick when he broke out down the stretch in 2025. And all the Saints have done since then is add a
Browning.
boatload of speed, talent, athleticism. You spoke to Oscar Delp, Travis E.T. Chain, however you want to say it. We'll figure it out as the season goes along. Um, Jordan Tyson at number 8. We have Barian Brown late in the draft. We got Bryce Lance, who ran a
Yes,
4.2.
Bryce Lance.
So yeah, I mean, and we're bringing back Valet. Y'all might laugh, but we're bringing back Valet.
Juwan,
He's a tall.
Juwan
He's like
Johnson.
we got Jawan Johnson.
Juwan
Good friend
Johnson.
Jawan Johnson. I told him I never spoke ill of you at all on these podcasts. I promise you. But yeah, he fully broke out last year. Even like a Noah Fant, who's not a great fantasy player, but he's just another piece of the offense that we didn't have last year.
Yeah.
And what he did last year is nothing short of amazing. We're talking about a team that was in the process of rebuilding down the stretch. Let me tell you who his wide receivers are. Everybody knows Chris Olave had a breakout season, and it just so happened to come from Tyler Shuck. But some of the other wide receivers we had was Mason Tipton,
As
Kel-
sorry, I didn't.
Kelvin Kelvin Austin. Rashid Shaheed was traded. We had Brandon Cooks for a cup of coffee.
Cup of
Uh,
coffee.
Devon Vele, he played a
Jalen
couple
Pope.
of games and he was hurt. Jalen Pope didn't play last season. I mean, the guy had Walmart bag boys outside of Chris Olave and Jawan Johnson to throw to,
Juwan
and he
Johnson.
still produced a top 12 both in completion percentage and adjusted completion percentage while being number 13 in ADOT. So he's not just thinking and dunking. He's throwing that ball down the field to not the best weapons. So what they've done is they've shown that they completely believe in Tyler Shuck. They've added a boatload of talent for Tyler Shuck. And so now instead of throwing it to plumbers, lawyers, and accountants and Walmart bag boys, he's going to throw to guys with real juice, um, with a rock solid running back with Trevor Etienne. So the offense
Yeah,
is set to fucking blow up. Like I'm just being like my expectations are just getting unreasonable at this point. I'm like feeling 30 points per
don't get ahead
game.
of yourself now.
All of that, and we play all of our games and most of our division games in a dome. So, um, with the Falcons, so fast tracks, uh, you know, potential 30 points per game. For me, I would be buying into all of the Saints right now because the Saints are going to be a rocket ship offense that are going to be league winners. And the guy that's going to be controlling all that, Tyler Shuck.
And I'll have to agree with my host right here. He was honestly, he's been on the Tyler Shook train he was the first ones telling everybody, go get you a share. And I took that upon myself very early on in the offseason. What did I do? One of the first things that I did trade it in one of my money leagues was I made a trade. I traded away Baker Mayfield, Tyreek Hill, because I wanted to get off the share, and a 2026 fourth. And I acquired Tyler Shook, Caleb Johnson, and a 2026 third. And I felt super solid about that one. Could Baker make a bounce back this year? Yes, he very much could. But I wanted to get younger, and I feel like I was hoping that the Saints were going to build around Tyler Shook, and they very much did that. And what I am very interested in seeing is Kellen Moore in his second year and what they do look like in the second year of that playbook with Travis Etienne in there, Chris Olave, with Jordan Tyson in there, like you said, Lance, and then Juwan Johnson, Oscar Delp. You still got an Alvin Kamara, but it sounds like because they just asked Kellen Moore about that in the press conference, and the language around that was, I don't think Alvin Kamara is going to be on the Saints when the season starts.
He's a good guy. He's really involved in the community. everything but talking about the football.
So, and that's not to say I still think Alvin Kamara could play some good football. So wherever he goes, I hope he still continues to play and doesn't retire. But I think it is very much in 2026 upwards for Tyler Shook. And now they just got to put it all together. And it's really, if they don't have a good season on offense, I think anything below top 15 is a disappointment on that end for sure. Now, my number one, or not number one, but my first buy high player is Breece Hall, who I made a couple trades for this offseason, even before he signed his 3-year contract. Now, hear me out. Everyone will be like, he's plays for the New York Jets offense. We're not high on them. They have Geno Smith at quarterback. Yes, okay, I hear all that. I hear all that. But what I do like about what the New York Jets, I think they got a little bit better at quarterback. Geno Smith is cool. I'm not saying he's all that in a bag of chips, but I think he's serviceable for what you need from that offense. Now you have a number one in Garrett Wilson. You went out and you drafted a Omar Cooper Jr. You already had an Adonai Mitchell, right? And then you went out and got yourself a Sadiq while having a what's old boy Mason Taylor. So they built added more to that overall offense where you were just throwing guys out there, right? And then they hired Reich, Rich, Frank
Right,
Rich, Reich,
right,
yeah,
right,
uh,
right.
the old Colts head coach. They hired him as their offensive coordinator, and he brings like a West Coast type of feel where he's going to run the ball. That's his thing. He does. He's have a heavy emphasis on running backs in the passing game. Breece Hall could see a lot of catches and take advantage of his wide receiver skill set on that. His run scheme, he mixes inside with some man duo. So, and he does run some wide zone and some change of pace plays. So I think think of when Jonathan Taylor had his breakout in 2021 with the Colts, when he went over 2,000 scrimmage yards, right? He does rotate backs at times, but he likes his guy for sure. So look for Breece Hall to have a really, if he can stay healthy, that's a really big one on that one. If he can stay healthy, I think Breece Hall could have returned to a top 5 season. And even to more, once again, he did sign a 3-year extension. So he's going to be a Jet. So you do get that long term. They are committed to him, so you don't have to worry about him being replaced next year. And then on top of that, he has that 3 down. He's explosive. He's a pass catcher, right? I think he was very underutilized in 2025, where he only averaged 3 targets per game. That is stupid for the type of caliber running back that you have. He should be seeing Christian McCaffrey type numbers. How Christian McCaffrey was trying to ever catching the ball, if you're asking me. And looking at his history, Frank's history, I highly suggest a big jump into that. I could see potentially Brees Hall getting anywhere to like 80 targets at the running back position if you and being used dynamically in that passing game. What do you think about Brees Hall in 2026, Rocco?
Oh man, I was excited about Breece Hall in 2025. I was kind of buying into if Justin Fields, even if he failed, he would open up holes for Breece Hall.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I mean the lack of a functional offense sunk everybody there, including Garrett Wilson, because Justin Fields couldn't complete a forward pass, as the owner Willie Johnson
That's
most
what it
famously said.
said,
um,
right?
I don't know if it's Breece. I don't know if it's Breece for 26. Um, but I think Breece is set to kind of blow up in 27 when they get a real quarterback.
Is that
But
me?
what's that?
Oh, there we go. Oh no,
Okay.
I thought it had frozen on my end. Or we're good. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, but I was disappointed with Brees in 25. Um,
yeah.
he, I mean, Brees could be a sneaky value in 26. I don't know if he's a buy high because a lot of people are down on him. So I feel like he's more of a buy low because a lot of people were just threw up in their mouths a little bit when he re-signed long term with the Jets. So I think now is the time to actually buy low on him because I don't think that it's the worst situation in the world. I mean, everybody was disappointed with Geno Smith last year, but let's be real. That offense was atrocious all the way around, from the coaching staff, the players they had. Um,
Mm.
you know, no real wide receivers of note. More of those gimmicky Trey Tucker types. Jack Best didn't fire. Brock Bowers was hurt very early in the season, and the offensive line was a mess. Pete Carroll hired his son to run the offensive line, and that went about as well as anybody could have expected, which is terribly. So I don't put it all on the plate of Geno Smith. So Geno could have a mini bounce back in 26 as a bridge quarterback for whoever comes in 27. And I feel like Geno Smith, one of the things he will do is have some dump offs to Breece Hall. So that can be the hidden value. Is Breece Hall's an elite pass catcher. So if he can get some of that back into his game, I think he definitely could, have a big time bounce back. But he's going to bounce back as Geno does. So if Geno bounces back, we can see Breece bounce back. If not, we're looking at somebody in 2027, a highly drafted first round pick that'll come in and utilize Breece Hall as he should be, because I still believe he's a top five-ish talent at the running back position in the
He's
league. And
still
I
young.
stand,
He's
yeah,
still a young
24
guy.
years old.
24 years old. Yep. So I throw him in a candidate for the 1,000 club. I think he can go for 1,000 rushing, 1,000 receiving. He has that type of ability in my eyes. Now, when you have other guys like that, when you once again a Garrett Wilson, you just drafted Omar Cooper in the first round. You just drafted Sadiq in the first round. So I think with when you add those bodies, you're going to want to get the ball for sure, move the ball around for sure. Now, a couple of trades that I've done for Brees before we move on to your second person in your buy high list. I received Lamar Jackson, Breece Hall, and the 203, which I turned into Jonah Coleman, and I gave away Baker Mayfield, Jalen Warren, Xavier Worthy, the 107, the 110, and the 307. How do you feel about that trade?
I like it. I like it.
I like me some. I really wanted to get buy-ins on get on Lamar Jackson, who could potentially might be on the list coming up, but you never know. Now,
he showed up. He showed up. He showed up. He showed up
I'm
early in the
telling you
practice. So
now. I'm telling you now. I
I feel
wanted
like he hasn't really been in love with things that have happened in the Ravens organization and the hardball. So he looks like he's got a little bit more buy-in this year.
And then the second trade that happened today, I traded Breece Hall. I'm sorry, not sorry. I received Breece Hall and Elijah Surratt, and I sent out Christian McCaffrey, R.J. Harvey, and Tesla from the Detroit Lions. Felt
That
really
sounds
good.
like a trade that you think that CMC is finito.
I was sometimes you want to get out early, and he's 30 years old. Do I still
For
think
the
he's going to have?
championship contender.
Yes, but I still think I take Brees Hall still. And if I wasn't moving off a lower running back, I probably wouldn't have because this was a trade that I had sent him, and then he countered. He wanted Christian McCaffrey and Travis Etienne, so I can get, and I
Yeah,
received Breece
yeah,
Hall and Elijah. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So I was like, I'll do it for the first trade I sent you, but I'll hold if I'm setting both Christian McCaffrey and Travis Etienne. And then that's when he just accepted my trade, and then boom, that's
bro.
so.
Bro, I had ETN on my list, but I didn't want to just have all Saints. But yeah, buy on all the Saints because ETN's gonna be a fucking monster too this year. The
I'm
Saints'
telling you,
offensive
man.
line is finally rebuilt. Whew. Oh
I'm telling you.
man, I can't wait to be
But who?
disappointed in 26.
But let us know who is your second buy high and fly, baby.
Man, this guy this guy is a super buy high. Let's just say that I traded Jackson Dart to get this guy.
Mm.
And had to give up other shit on top of Jackson Dart, like a Josh Downs and a Jalen Noel. I needed to cut down the roster anyway. That's the secret hidden sauce there. But yeah, basically for me it was basically Jeanty for Dart. I didn't give a shit about whatever else I needed to grease the trade. But that just goes to show you I am really prepared to buy high for this guy. Ashton Jeanty.
As you should.
We just talked about how bad the offensive environment was for Geno Smith last year. Well, guess what? Ashton Jeanty was the starting running back for that same team. And what did he do behind that god awful Raiders offensive run blocking line? Yes, let me tell you. He had 1,321 all purpose yards, including 46 yards in the air, 10 scores. He was number 5 in the league in missed forced tackles with 61 missed forced. I mean, he had a forced to miss tackles because he was getting hit early and fucking often. And I'll tell you what game really like set it off for me that I'm gonna get a lot of Ashton Jeanty in 2026 was Week 15 against the historically great Houston Texans defense. 24 for 128. A
He tore
score on
him up.
the ground, and he had a 60-yard touchdown in the air. And the Raiders lost by 2 points to Houston, but we're talking about Houston been stopping everybody, but they could not stop Ashton Jeanty. Um, so I just think that he's just set up to succeed. Now the Raiders have not one but two serviceable quarterbacks, including the 101, who has a lot of upside himself with Fernando Mendoza. So they just look like a much more functional offense with Kubiak, who's coming off of a Super Bowl win and really turning around that Seattle Seahawks offense. And I think he's going to do great things for the Raiders as well. So, um, Ashton Jeanty, it's not outside the realm of possibility for him to, in 2026, to have 2,000 combined yards and upwards of 15 touchdowns. I think it's
Ooh.
definitely in his range of
Damn, brother.
outcomes as the Raiders, their arrow is starting to point up, and I am high. I am high as who's that? Who's,
High as a
who's that?
motherfucking
Who's
cat.
that? Who's that crackhead that Dave
That's
Chappelle used
what
to play
motherfucking is.
on
High as
the
a motherfucking 80.
how high as giraffe nuts on?
I'm telling you, boy. You said
How high
2,000
is giraffe
combined
nuts
yards.
on Jets? 2,000 combined yards. He had 1,321 as a rookie, so I don't think it's far fetched if he stays healthy.
Hey, player, I like shoot for the stars. And hey, I am somebody who love Ashton Jeanty. I like him coming out. I have a few shares of him. And there's somebody I'm not going to name any names that was out there that was trying to say that they value the 101 more than they value Ashton Jeanty. And I think that's a little wild. Where, hey, if you like Jeremiah Love a little bit more, I'm not going to be mad at you, but I'm not about to go out my way to get Jeremiah Love. But there's some people that rank Jeremiah Love ahead of Ashton Jeanty. But hey, to each their own, potato potato. We all like our each kind of ice cream at the end of the day. But I like Ashton Jeanty. When you got Fernando Mendoza and you got they added some pieces around. They even added a little bit of Mike Washington. Do I think Mike Washington's enough to scare anybody? Fuck no. So I don't think he's going to stop anything on the Ashton Jeanty train. Hopefully Jack Batch can come back and do his thing. Deontay Thornton doing that boy in the backwood. I hope you have a good NFL career, but for fantasy wise, I don't think Deontay Thornton gives you much this year. Jalen Naylor, they already talked about wanting to make him more of a primary wide receiver, so he's definitely going to get his touches. And then you can't forget about Trey Tucker. So there, and then you can't forget about the best receiver that they have, Brock Bowers. So there's going to be the amount of touches, amount of shares that need to go around is going to be a little bit limited, and you're going to give it to your big dog guys, Brock Bowers, Ashton Jeanty. You're going to try to get Jack Batch back into the game of things. So I am riding on Ashton Jeanty 2026. I really do like him, and he should see a no matter if they go Kirk Cousins in the beginning or they start Fernando Mendoza to begin with. I think either way he'll be okay. Dr. Seuss and this bitch. Now for my number two, I'm going to go Luther Burton, who I have acquired actually recently as today as well. Where, if I'm being quite honest with you, depending on how you feel about Brian Thomas Jr., you might like it and you might not. But for basically a straight up, I didn't having to send a third because, to be have you, a lot of people don't like Brian Thomas Jr. right now. They are severely down. Trying to move him is one of the hardest players too, because the way you have your value and how somebody else sees them is going to be super hard to meet somewhere in the middle. But and I
Mm.
already right. I mean, hey, I was trying to get it. I was trying to get a solid return or a solid player starting on the return back. I already have Parker Washington, so I was trying to look for somebody who was young, up and coming, and I saw Luther Burden on the trade block. So basically, I sent the trade, trying to do it, trying to do the what to do, and he sent a counter for basically straight up Brian Thomas Jr. and Luther Burden. And at first, I had to look at it, and then I thought about it. I still like Luther Burden. I liked him coming out as college as a prospect, even if his college quarterback, lost him some money, some money in the draft in last year's draft. But what you can be very positive about for Luther Burden is that DJ Moore is no longer a Chicago Bear. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that as a negative thing. I do like DJ Moore, but that means targets have been vacated and that has to be distributed among their young guys. And towards the end of 2025, he was starting to really take off, where he posted an elite efficiency where he had 2.71 yards per route run, among one of the best for any rookie coming in for the last decade, right? And he had 342 yards after the catch. Now, he in week 17, he even exploded for 8 catches, 138 yards, one touchdown. So for me, Burden is primed for a massive target bump in Ben Johnson's offense, alongside Caleb Williams, Roma Dunze, and Colston Loveland. His ADP is starting to catch up as well, where I think right now is the best time to acquire Luther Burden, because I think once he starts rolling, once he starts going, he's going to very much cost you more than what you could acquire for him right now, especially if he starts hot, right? Second year in Ben Johnson's two offense. Caleb Williams, definitely look for him to take another leap forward. I think that Roma Dunze was very hampered by injuries last year. A lot of people want him to bounce back. I know a lot of people are high on Colston Loveland too. They are young, even though it's Chicago and they're notorious for not being really a passing, being able to pass in that city. Luther Burden is somebody who I think gives you wide receiver one, wide receiver two type of asset, just depending on the week, right? They use a lot. He very much benefits in a Ben Johnson's offense where they use motion heavy, yak centric, creative schematics to weaponize their versatile playmakers, and that's what I really do love a bit about Luther Burden, and specifically Ben Johnson and that pairing going forward. Uh, Once again, they use pre-snap motion shifts, mismatches. Johnson loves using orbiting motions, orbit counters, pre-snap movement. Moving guys around to manipulate the linebackers in space. So, and we got to see now with how they kind of constructed that offense. Will we see them use more 12 to 13 personnel usage? Johnson leans to multiple tight ends. So you got Loveland, and then they also drafted I'm trying to think of his name. I'm forgetting his last name, but they drafted another tight end when they also had Komet on the offense. So they're
Sam
killing us.
Rouse.
Thank you. Appreciate that, my boy. So, nevertheless, Burden, I think he works really well where he can do some vertical shots. He can work on those intermediate crossers. You can manufacture some touches to him and use his God given talent. So, he's a lot of people thought he could really only thrive on, he's better in the slot. I think he can be moved around. I think you will see him moved around a lot with Roma Dunze and how, that rest of the offense will go for sure.
Yeah, yeah. If you didn't talk about Luther Burden, then he would have definitely been one of my guys. Um, yeah, I think he's going to be the 1A or the 1B to that offense to Colston Loveland, while Romo Dunze is going to be on the outside clashing, running wind sprints, some cardio, and uh, occupying that number one cornerback. And in real life, he may be the best receiver on this team, but the best receiver on the team doesn't always score the most fantasy points
That's
because what
true.
Luther Burden's going to be doing, he's going to be occupying, the secondary uh, cornerback, safety, nickel corner, some of the weaker defensive backs on the team. And like you alluded to, he doesn't just play slot. He spent about equal times on the outside and on the inside, playing a lot of Z receiver out there. So even when they have two tight ends on the field, he can move right over to Z and stay on the field. Because basically Colston Loveland is just like a big wide receiver out there.
Oh yeah.
That has tight end eligibility. So, um, you know, uh, one of the stats I look for is yards per route run, 2.69. So he's well over the 2.5 you know yards per route run that we look for, and just a little bit better play, and he could be encroaching on three, which is now we're talking about Puka AJ Brown level. So yeah, I mean I love Luther Burden, and he still is not at his apex of what
Nope.
his price could be if he takes another leap. So right now is the time to get him while people are saying, well, Romo Dunze is coming back. Colston Loveland, is the number one there. But there's going to be plenty of opportunity for him. And even when it gets cold and the wind starts doing weird shit with the ball, guess what? It's going to affect the guys going down the field, but the guys running the short routes, especially with DJ Moore not there, that's going
Yeah.
to be Luke Burden. So he's going to be almost weatherproof in a harsh condition. So he is a big time buy for me. You hit that right on the head. Not too many notes besides the one I just let everybody know with all of my notes.
Thank you, my brother. And the last note, Ben Johnson did put note to that. He did looks like he put on a little bit of weight. So it looks like he might be pushing that 210, 212 range, which I think works really well for his game to take more
Perfect.
perfectly for to be able to handle more of that yak and to sustain a little bit more of the NFL punishment. So charts is up for Luther Burden. Hit us actually before we go into our third and fourth buy highs. We're going to spin league champ real quick, where you can win a free NFL jersey when the NFL season starts by being the number one ranker. And they now have insights on NFL players, coaching information, and even more now on League Champ. Tap in, download it on the Apple Store and Google Store. And we'll be right back after this one. And we are back at it. Fourth in fantasy. Hit that like button, hit that share button. Y'all know what it is. Coming back at it. We got more in store for y'all. Season 3 coming up for the NFL season. We're still in season 2 now. It's been a fun off season. Once again, we're working through rookie drafts right now. We're looking forward to OTAs. We're looking forward to training camp to get more information on these rookies because damn, we can't get enough of hearing more about these guys. But let's get back to the buy high players. So far, it's been Breece Hall, Luther Burden on my end, and Suge and Ashton Jeanty on Rocco's. Let's keep proceeding. Rocco, what is or who is your third buy high player in 2026?
Man, this is a guy that I wanted to be out on. I kind of poo pooed on him a little bit. Not literally. That would
Oh
be
my
weird.
God.
Uh,
What?
uh, no, but he broke out in his second year, um, and I wasn't buying in all the way. I thought maybe he didn't have a lot of competition. I forgot who else they had in Cincinnati, but it was basically him, and he had a hot run out to the end of the season, and I wasn't all the way bought in. Well, guess what? He came back the very next year, year 3, and did the same type of damage. A lot of it without Joe Burrow. I'm talking about Chase Brown. I'm not going to hit you up with a lot of stats. I'm just going to tell you the baselines he
It was
hit
Zach
in
Moss.
Oh yeah, yeah. Did
Yeah,
I? Zach Moss. Oh man.
yeah, because
Yeah.
Zach Moss was doing his thing
Oh
over
god.
there. Yeah,
Oh man. Zach Moss. I'm sure he's a good guy, but he's not very fantasy relevant anymore. But let me just tell you some of the thresholds he hit in back-to-back years. Chase Brown did 1,300 all-purpose yards back to back. Exactly 11 TDs back to back. And he also had 50 catches in back to back seasons. I want to share my screen, but I'm not exactly sure how to. I'm not seeing. Is there a way to share my screen? Because I want to show you something real quick.
yeah. So you're gonna go ahead and hit that little plus button.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Mm-hmm.
screen share. Okay, okay, okay. Check this out. This is the last thing I need to tell you about Chase Brown. I'm not going to take up a lot of time, and then uh, you'll have your chance to retort.
Oh no,
This
later
is
on, play
one
it.
of the thing that really surprised me, and I knew he was athletic, but I didn't know how athletic he was until I saw this. Look at those fucking numbers.
Well,
92nd percentile, 4.43, 40-yard dash. Speed score in the 89th percentile. Burst score, which is basically long jumps and vertical combined. 94th percentile. I don't think he did agility skills, but I mean, you see that when he plays. He's also a strong fucker, 25 reps on the bench, 87th percentile. So as you can see, this guy is plenty athletic, and maybe that's playing a part into what he is doing out there on the field. And now I feel like you're going to get a healthy Joe Burrow. He's like the opposite of Dak. He's a even year Burrow. So it could be another monumental season upcoming for Joe Burrow, and Chase
mhm.
Brown is going to be right there to absorb a lot of those points with him.
Hey, I like me. I used to be the biggest hater of Chase Brown, y'all. I want everyone to know that. So when I say these things, or what I'm about to say, just take it to heart, because I used to be the person who like, why in the fuck are you buying Chase Brown, right? So uh, this last year, he took every word that I said and threw that right into the ground because he had a very productive year. And hell, the signs were there because he's in one of the best offenses in the NFL with Jamar Chase, with T. Higgins. You got an NFL, one of the best top five quarterbacks in Joe Burrow, who's led you to a Super Bowl. And then you have a pretty decent tight end in Mike Gesicki. And then you got to, now the defense needs to come along and whatever. Offensive line hasn't been too great. But
Man, fuck
when it
that
comes
defense.
to yeah, when it comes to your skill players, you're one of the best in the league, right? So now you throw Chase Brown in there, and he catches the ball, he runs the ball, he has quickness to him, he has that home run ability, and he's shown that in 2025. Now he has gotten a little bit banged up from time to time, and it happens, right? He's not the biggest guy in the NFL, but I think in 2025, where you could be or what in a high paced offense that could fly, I like me some Chase Brown. Now, would I spend the one like go and use a 105 on Chase Brown? Probably not. Would I use a 106 on Chase Brown? Probably not. Would I do I'd probably do a 107, send out the 107 to get Chase Brown, the 108, 109. Probably a mid to late. I'll be okay. I
Mhm.
wouldn't do no early for Chase Brown. If I'm using an early one, I'm probably gonna try to shoot for more for the stars, aka Breece Hall. You did. So
I'll
I
tell
do
you
like
what.
Chase Brown. Go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you what my deal with for Chase Brown is, and I made this deal with a total shark Omar Diaz, so it's probably going to turn out terribly for me. I mean, this guy won like 10 championships last year
Mm,
in leagues that we shared. So this is my trade that I did with him was Chase Brown and a 2027 second for
mm.
Bucky Irving and a 2026 fourth.
I like that. I like it. I like it. And
Yeah,
I
he
wish I
was
could.
he was coming hard for Bucky, so I made sure I got that second for some
And they're probably
insulation.
looking beautiful now, bro. Because when Bucky Irving is still not healthy, and he has surgery recently, and they're saying he's still not ready to go, I would be happy with that trade and getting Chase Brown. So that's a good part on your end.
Gainwell, homie, stand up.
Woo, woo, you did. Now, for my third, you already know I'm going to have to go with this one. Lamar Jackson, come on down, come on down. I just spoke about him on one of the trades that I just got with Breece Hall. I like Lamar Jackson. Why do I like Lamar Jackson? Because like people are killing his value due to he has been banged up as of recently, and I hear that. But he just got a new offensive coordinator in DeKalen Doyle. And if you don't know who DeKalen Doyle is, he's a former Bears assistant that was heavily involved with Ben Johnson. Ooh, we love that name in the fantasy football world, Ben Johnson. Now, Doyle has three pillars that he are non-negotiables: physical, detailed and explosive, right? So they're shifting away from the Monken era of the fullback heavy identity, and then towards a multi tight end set. They're gonna use
Mhm.
more motions, more mismatches. They're gonna emphasize jack explosive plays, right? So in this one, you can look for in the Decalen Doyle's offense be better protection, run game foundation. Yeah, they use a lot more I formation, less shotgun. So I think that's a lot better for Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson in whole. So and then this will very much create a cleaner pocket for Jackson. I think they're going to use more of their deep shots, intermediate shots. Lamar Jackson has one of the better arms in the NFL, and I think it's very underappreciated. I know we all love what he can do on the ground, but he has evolved his he it flies off his hand when he throws it, and it looks like it's very effortless. And then they are going to use mismatches with tight ends, so you're going to see more 12 to 13 personnel. They're going to try to create more favorable boxes for Derrick Henry and him to exploit spaces. Zay Flowers is going to have a wonderful time. They went out and drafted Elijah Surratt, Jacoby Lane. You still got a Rashad Bateman, so we got to see what he's going up to. I look for Mark Andrews to get back involved. I think he was very much neutered in the pass offense, in the Monken's offense. I look for them to get back to that for sure. Honestly, I think Jackson just thrives, and I think he will thrive in this new system. I think he's very locked in, as we've seen. We were just talking about it before, where he's shown up early this offseason, where he was not doing that under Hogball. So I think that's something to note. Uh, Jackson, yes, in last year in 2025 in September he had a hamstring, and then December he had back issues. So you know when you throw out, you really draft Lamar Jackson for his dual threat, but I still think he's a adequate, well, more than adequate passer of the rock. And now I think the offense of scheme will fit better for what Lamar Jackson can do for you. Realistically, I think he stays in that. He can be in that top five era, but I'll say Lamar Jackson finishes in that top 5 to 7 range of quarterbacks this year in 2026. Is that his QB1 that we've all seen MVP caliber? No, right? But I think his ceiling is there though. His ceiling can be there. I think his baseline solid floor is that QB5 to QB7 range for sure. How do you feel about Lamar Jackson in 2026? Rocco.
I think I would be disappointed if he's not an MVP candidate in 2026. I mean, let's be real. QB1 is absolutely in his range of outcomes. You know, a you know uh, I don't know what the record is for the most points scored by a quarterback in a season, but I'm sure, Lamar Jackson has multiple seasons, on that list, on that top 10 list for what for what QBs have done, with you know uh, passing. You know what he does as a runner, and he looks like he's committed this year, and that's the biggest thing for Lamar Jackson is he hasn't been committed in a couple years, and he was damn near MVP in 2024. So just imagine what a motivated Lamar Jackson. People are talking, uh, whispering after the 2025 season, like, is this it for Lamar Jackson? Or maybe not, is this it for Lamar Jackson? Has he lost, a little bit of athleticism? You know, people been questioning him as a quarterback since he came into the league. Everybody famously remembers Bill Polian saying he should be a wide receiver, which is, just a slap in the face because he was a really good college quarterback that just
Yeah.
happened to be an amazing runner. So, those questions have swirled around Lamar Jackson for years, and now there's a lot of doubters out there, and he's motivated. So this could absolutely be another MVP type season. And he's probably going to walk into the door with the best set of weapons he's had maybe in his career. I mean, we got Derrick Henry, who looks like he hasn't slowed down at all. He won a lot of
Cyborg.
a lot of fucking money, including myself, in 2025 with what he did, in the closing months, which he does every year, which we told you on this show, buy into because he will smash at the end of the season. I will believe he will smash at the end of the season until he does not, which he has, he does yearly. So, that was very predictable. So he's got Derrick Henry, and hopefully, the new coach doesn't take Derrick Henry off the field when he's smashing just because he fumbled in the first quarter in 2026. And those type of things, will get the team back into the playoffs. But besides that, you're talking about returning weapons. You're talking about Zay Flowers, who just had a top 10 wide receiver season, who's going to be a year older and a year more seasoned. And you've got some really nice rookies he's bringing in with Jacoby Lane, one of the true X receivers he's had in his career, and a guy that can do a little bit of everything with Elijah Sherrod. So, he's got weapons. Like, we don't know how fast those weapons will assimilate, but he does have more offensive talent than he's had in his career. So, I'd be disappointed if he wasn't in the running for MVP. My other guy is Justin Herbert because I think he's been dying for a good offensive coach for years, and he's got the weapons around him. But that's another story. Lamar Jackson is. If people are selling Lamar Jackson, count me in. I'm a buyer.
I'm gonna buy it. My boy Rocco buy it. And that was my third buy high player. Rocco, hit us with your fourth and last buy high 2026 player.
Oh man, this guy. Um, you really don't even have to look at stats with him, and he does have some interesting numbers with him. But just watch him play. He's one of the most exciting players you will ever watch play. Just the demon at the catch point. Just we coined the community coined the word mossed years ago. He mosses people on the regular. Just some oven mitts out there, catches anything that's close. And he's really good at making stuff happen after the catch. As evidenced by his eighth ranking in missed forced tackles. I'm talking about George Pickens.
Ooh,
Um,
talk to me nice.
Hey, it might not be too nice. There is a very real world where he could jump CD Lamb for the number one for the Dallas Cowboys. He is that talented. It is not a slight at CD Lamb. It's a George Pickens is really, really fucking good. It makes
That's
you
good.
look good every time you throw the ball in his way when he's not, you know, being a diva and crying about shit. But most of the time that doesn't happen. But 10th in yards per route run, 11 in contested catches, um, and he does all of his work on a dot of 12 yards. So he's doing it, in the intermediate and downfield areas of the field. So, he's making big things happen basically every time they're throwing the ball his way. And you know, he took a passing game that was questionable and made it unstoppable. So if we get a full year of CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, I think those two guys are what's going to break the even year curse for Dak Prescott. And Dak Prescott is going to have the season I thought he was going to have last year. 5,000 yards for Dak Prescott, 40 touchdowns, and a playoff berth. I don't know how much further they're going to get than that, but they're going to be a really tough team to play come playoff time.
I love when Rocco starts talking that good talk about my Cowboys because it makes me feel good inside. So I appreciate you, Rocco, on that. And I agree. George Pickens is a dog because he was a dog, and when he's going to be going into year two in a Cowboys offense, and potentially going to see Jerry Jones has said repeatedly that they're thinking long term with George Pickens. So Dak Prescott, in my eyes, is one of the best quarterbacks and a dying breed in the NFL when it comes to pre-snap and being able to diagnose a defense, right, and be able to read a defense. And you throw in a Jake Ferguson, you throw in a Javon James, you throw in an improving offensive line, and then Brian Schottenheimer has shown last year that he is a capable play caller. I hope he can build upon that. I hope he can add a little bit of wiggle and a little bit of zag in our offense to where we ran a little bit, add a little bit more motion. We ran motion at the most that we have since, in the well before Mike McCarthy era. So that was a very beautiful sight to see. But I think in year two now, you could see George Pickens move even more throughout that offense to where last year he stayed majority in that X spot, right? They didn't really move him around that much. He stayed on that left hand side. Now you will, I think, this year, you'll see him move in that slot. You'll see him move to the right side, play that Z. You'll see him play majority of the X, but he'll also play the other three positions, and it'll be fun. All I think with CD, they'll move him around a lot too this year as well to make us a lot more dangerous. Imagine having to deal with George Pickens in that slot. It could get a little dangerous out here. So I very much look for us to take a step forward in that, and I'm right behind you with having George Pickens as a buy high because he's still young, and whether he's on the Dallas Cowboys or he goes to a team that has a good quarterback, he can make you look good. And he has shown that he's all about ball. Now he needs to, keep his head right. I don't think he's a problem outside the field. It's always been his temperament on the field and how he runs people. But so far, so good. I love him as a Dallas Cowboy. Hope we can make it last a little longer. But
Yeah,
2026, George Pickens is going stupid.
yeah, and just a couple last points before we move on. Yeah, I like your thought about getting him into the slot, um, and I would even get him to run maybe some more go routes in 2026. His long for 2025 was 45 yards. I'd like to see a 80-yarder thrown in
I'm
there.
not
Man,
it.
tell me how fun is that going to be when you take off the shackles a little bit and let him really get out there and get jiggy with it.
I'm telling you.
And let
Yeah.
me just tell you one trade that I made with our good friend Rhino from the Fantasy Goats, Rhino Strong. I got Pickens and I got Gainwell. I think Gainwell's sneaky. Um, for my 2027 first, a
Ooh.
26 third, Jaden Higgins and Tyrone Tracy.
I know you're off on Tracy. I'm still high on. I'm not high on man on Tracy because I still think he serves a role. But if you're going to go get George Pickens, I'm not mad at that at all. And I've actually used the value of George Pickens to move and acquire some guys. I know. I'm trying to think of the trade, but moving George Pickens with our good boy Max got me a solid position of where I was able to get somebody. I think it was Parker Washington and some other rookie spots I get. So in all, I really do like myself some Pickens. And for the long term, short term and long term, I think George Pickens is going to be successful. Watching him at his first year with the Georgia Bulldogs, you always knew, could see that he was going to be something special in the NFL. And he was being held back at the Steelers because they had Basuda as as we would say at quarterback until
Still,
Aaron Rodgers came in and still has some Basuda. That is the best
still,
quarterback that George Pickens ever played with.
motherfuckers in the Discord trying to talk up Aaron Rodgers. I said, man, get the fuck out of here with
He
that
said, "Get
bullshit.
the fuck out of here."
He runs the most fucking boring offense. You're gonna keep the fucking Steelers stuck at like 7 wins, and they're not gonna get to pick, the quarterback that they want to be the QB of the future. They're gonna be stuck with whoever falls. If they even go quarterback, they probably just roll out fucking Weekend at Bernie's Aaron Rodgers again in 2027 because they hate their fans. Um, but yeah, on that team that I traded for Pickens, he's my wide receiver 3 now. So anytime I can make George Pickens of
The wide receiver
1,400
three,
yards and
smooth.
9 touchdowns in 2025, my wide receiver 3, got to do it.
That's a win-win right there, my boy. And that is Rocco's number 4 buy high player in 2026. I'll get y'all mine. And I kind of spoke on Paul and him just now. Oh, did I? Didn't I just say it? No, Parker Washington. Come on down. Jacksonville Jaguar, who I've been very bullish. I've been very, very bullish of Parker Washington this offseason and trying to acquire him. In 2025, he ended the back end of the year on fire. I tell you, he exploded. Where the full year, he had 58 catches, 95 targets, 847 yards, 5 touchdowns in 16 games. But from weeks 9 to 18, he posted wide receiver 11 level production, 12.6 half PPR. So if you use, I'll let you do the math on that one. But he dominated the wild card game where he had 7 catches, 107 yards, and 1 touchdown. His ADP, I don't think has caught up to where he's going to be this year. And him and Trevor Lawrence look like they have a very good connection. And I know everyone's not talking about the same Parker Washington that was drafted in the 6th round, the same Parker Washington that was on waivers until he wasn't. Yes, that same Parker Washington that you probably could have got for a bottle cap before he actually bloomed out, right? Now he's going to cost you some money because he put work into the game. He worked on his craft. He was routing up some of the best corners in his game. Patrick Surtain routed his ass up. Singletary routed his ass up. Was doing some of the best cornerbacks in this game dirty. And I look forward for him to be out here in 2026 doing the same damn thing where Travis Hunter is going to be playing more cornerback. Liam Cohen has talked about, yes, we still will see him a little bit out at wide receiver, but me personally, I don't expect him to see him out there a lot, right? I know. Cry that's for all the owners that drafted, including myself, who drafted Travis Hunter out there fairly high. I know we're all smoked, we're all fucked right now. That we all corner, but I like me some Parker Washington, if you ask me. And then looking at the schematic fit, just from what Liam Cohen likes to do, and also from Grant Udinsky returning for his year 2. They made Trevor Lawrence what the number 1 overall talent that or I personally knew he could be. I think they brought and very much took a massive step forward, unlocking their skill set, right? So what Parker Washington brings, when they definitely use a multi-wide receiver distribution, I think he's going to get his targets, right? Washington very much thrived in the mismatches that Lawrence was able to create with easy throws. And then with Parker Washington's route running, he's damn near QB friendly. So Washington's ability to win routes from the slot, I think, is very impressive, very much on heavy snaps. You got the volume going there, even with, I think they're still going to be a run balanced team. Now, even with ETN gone, and we're going to see what they do with Tudor and Chris Rodriguez, and what they do with LaQuint Allen, things of that nature. But looking at Washington's per route efficiency and his ability to create after the catch, man, I absolutely love what he could do in a full-time starter rep. He ranked number 50 among wide receivers despite splitting time. Come on now. Hear me out on that one. So basically, in short, for me, I think the system, even though you have a Brian Thomas Jr., whether you're high on him, low on him, They have a Jacoby Myers. They still got Travis Hunter. And then you got, Strange. They went out and got them a Tanner Koziel. So we got to see on back on that part. I think 2026, you could very well see him projected to get anywhere between 100 to 113 targets. I see Parker Washington going over 1,000 yards and him getting five to 5 to 8 touchdowns this year. Lawrence has called out that the impact that Washington brings to their overall offense. He's only 24 and he's heading into a pivotal year where he's trying to get an extension. It looks like they might potentially be talking about it. He has elite athleticism. It looks like his football IQ, and he is a student of the game. He puts that work in the offseason, and I think that's what we saw towards the end of the year where he was really kicking ass. So I do like me some Parker Washington, and I'm buying him all over the place where I can because I think he is going to bloom, and he's not going to loosen up on the neck of Brian Thomas Jr. Either Brian Thomas Jr. needs to step up to the plate and reclaim his wide receiver one totem pole, or Parker Washington is going to run away with that shit, and that's my opinion.
Yeah, you came out strong. Um, I traded for Parker Washington just because I know how much you love him. I traded a 26 second, which became Dejan Stribling,
Okay.
27 third for Parker Washington, and a 26 third. Um, Fucking dumbass sleeper makes it so hard. That's another thing in the notebook. Um,
he said, "Put that in." He said, "Put
in the
that in."
note in the notebook, just in case. Make it easier to see what actually was traded when people trade in the notebook. So basically, Deshaun Stribling, 27 third for Jacoby Lane, which is the third that he traded me. Jacoby Lane and Parker Washington. So I think I ate on that one.
I think you ate too. I like that trade, especially with the returns that he could end up giving you in 2026. Oh, that's a smash every time, brother.
Yeah, I thought he was moving up for Katron Allen. I was when he took Deshaun Stribling. I was pretty shocked because I mean Stribling had been going in third of most drafts, so seemed like he got a little ahead of himself. When when the 49ers reach for for a guy, that means you need to reach for the same guy. That's not how that goes.
But I will say I do like Stribling though, as a Georgia Bulldogs fan who single-handedly watched him whoop our ass in that one game, the first meeting of last year. He did work, and I do like. And I went back and watched a little bit of his game at Oklahoma State, and he's a fun player. So I do like Stribling. Now I do understand his in 2025 of what that wide receiver room is currently looking like. He doesn't have the sexiest of appeal, but I do like where I think you're getting good value with where he's sliding. If you're able to get Stribling in the third, I think that's a home run type pick. But
Mhm.
I've seen him around, and he's also buried a little bit in ADP sleeper at the moment, so people kind of forget as well. So there's been times where I've been around in that late second. I'm like, oh, Stribling's still on the fucking board? Yeah, give me that every time. So, yeah,
You gotta love the way Sleeper buries certain players that should be like way higher, like Stribling, like a Caleb Douglas, like we
yeah.
talked about earlier. Eli Raridon was a third round tight end that has a lot of
Jolly's been placed all the way in
Jolly
the
is way he is in like undrafted territory if you don't really go looking for him. But you got to love the sleeper early ADP. I think that's why a lot of people like to have their rookie drafts early because you get the double bonus, and this is good for people that actually, live, breathe, and shit this stuff and
I'm telling you.
really are tuned to what's going on because you get the double plus of knowing where a guy has landed, and the sleeper ADP hasn't caught up. So, if you're not paying attention, you're going to let a lot of value slip into those later rounds.
I know you said in one of the leagues that we just finished in when y'all was like, "Oh, y'all just let Justin Jolly sit in there in the fourth. Y'all tripping."
Are you talking about the fourth in fantasy?
Yeah, you said
Oh,
y'all
I fucking ate in that draft. Like, I don't know if these players are good, but I got like everybody I wanted.
tripping, man.
I got Dope. I got Jolie. I got Rare Dawn.
I'm telling you, Jolly's
Oh
gonna
man,
be that's gonna be a hell of a value when they move along from Ingram. Jolly's going to be one of those guys where he's going to, especially with where they're going in that direction of the offense. Boy, he's going to be something. He could be. I won't go too further into it, but I think he'll be. He can give you a little bit of glimpse of Shannon Sharp. Of
man, they should have fucking they should have let go of Ingram in season last year. Man, that dude was playing terribly.
I'm telling you, big dog. So no, take advantage of the ADP right now. It's well, sleeper will eventually catch up, but I think it's a beautiful thing right now when you're on your shit. And it even goes once again, like Rocco pointed to, it really awards the people who eat, breathe shit, this stuff, and you're actually putting in the work, you're putting in the time to know where these players are at. You kind of could throw that into Debbie as well. When some of us are when you're in there, people who get into learning more about Devi and you're in these drafts with people who know about fucking middle schoolers. So it all goes hand in hand. You can tell when someone really does enjoy a format. That has
Dog
been
is saying that the show is over.
I'm telling you, that has been our 8 players that we are buying high on. To recap, my four were Breece Hall, Luther Burden, Lamar Jackson, and Parker Washington. Rocco, who were your four?
Man, that dog is gonna rip the face off the Amazon delivery driver right this second.
Yeah, his
But
ass.
what was the question? Yeah, my guys are
Who were
obviously
recapping our four?
George Pickens, Chase Brown, Ashton Jeanty, and your number 3 MVP in 2026, Tyler Shook.
Well, I thought you were about to say in your 2026 MVP, Tyler Shook.
Not that crazy yet, but I can get there at some point.
He said we could talk about that one point. But this has been Fourth and Fantasy. Appreciate everybody that tunes in. We still got more to unpack as the off season goes. We still got to get to OTAs. Still got to get to training camp. We still got more trades that coming through. More leads coming in. We got more stuff behind the scenes that we're working on. We still got friends in the community that we're working with, trying to release bring in the good content with y'all every week. Thank you all. As always, we are your fantasy playbook to more championship wins and Rocco the land of the what?
We are a fantasy football podcast for Dynasty Sickos by Dynasty Sickos. Everybody is welcome.
Everybody, it was Kung Fu fighting. Yeah. Till next time, y'all enjoy yourself. Appreciate it. Love y'all. Fourth and fantasy. We out.